So the first match on Saturday, the early kickoff was at Goodison Park, Everton versus Chelsea, and of course Everton had a new acting coach, Duncan Ferguson. He was a hero here when he played as a striker, very strong willed player he was, and he got a rousing reception from the Everton faithful, and he certainly must have done his job in the last 48 hours, because on 4.5 minutes a CB cross from the right was met by Richarlison. He bundled through Zuma and headed past Kepa, and it was 1-0 to the Toffees. The first 10 minutes, challenges from Everton all around the park, Chelsea being pressed so hard and the crowd were frenzy-like. Now, if you're hearing some sound effects, it's because I'm doing this podcast outside in a lovely park on Sunday morning here, but unfortunately the local fraternity like to set off fireworks because it was the dead king's birthday on Thursday, but these things go on for days. And then of course there's the young males who love to use the outer ring of the park like a racetrack, and so apologies for the noise, but the atmosphere is great here. So I'll continue now with my report on Everton against Chelsea. And there go the fireworks again. On 15 minutes Walcott put Lewin through, but Kepa's legs blocked the effort. And then on 19 minutes some poor defending by Keane, but Chelsea failed to capitalise. Just a corner. 25 minutes though, a dangerous cross by Williams from the byline put Abraham in, but his final touch was tame. On 32 minutes, the telling cross from Mount was inches away from Abraham, and if he got a touch it would have sure been an equaliser. Chelsea were well on top, but at times wanted to walk it in, and Pickford really had yet to make a telling save. So that was half time with Everton 1 up. Within 3 minutes of the restart, Calvert-Lewin got Everton's second after a mix-up in Chelsea's box. Christiansen and Zuma failed to clear, and the ball fell for Lewin, who snapped it up. 2-0 then, Everton. 51 minutes though, they got a bit of a shock because Kovacic on the edge of the area struck a beautiful volley which went inside Pickford's right hand corner, and that followed a poor clearance by the Toffees defence, so it's back to 2-1. 58 minutes though, Walcott robbed Kante on the right, and Kepa pushed it clear, but 4 minutes later that man Kovacic, who certainly was Chelsea's man of the match, but this time his long range shot was just over. We got to minute 80 and Holgate managed to block another Mount effort, and Azpilicueta's drive was tipped over by Pickford. But then 3 minutes later, a really sloppy clearance by Kepa, and Walcott managed to feed Calvert-Lewin, who gave an assist to Davis, and his effort ricocheted back to Lewin, who was able to scuff it in the back of the net, and that was 3-1 Toffees. It was really all over there. Pulisic had a late header on 88 minutes, but it was comfortable for Kepa, so for Pickford rather. So Everton off to the absolutely best start possible for Duncan Ferguson. Final score at Goodison Park then: Everton 3, Chelsea 1. So the match we'd all been waiting for, the Manchester derby at the Etihad, Manchester City versus Manchester United. Team news: Stones was in for Otamendi, who was on the bench. Gundogan back from suspension, but only made the bench along with Mahrez. For United, Shaw was back at left back after a long layoff for Young, and Martial also returned with Pereira on the bench. What sort of game did we have? Absolutely fantastic first half hour for United. On 2 minutes, a nice opening for James on the edge of the box, and he brought a save from Edison. Sure, City were having the possession, but United were looking very dangerous on the break. Great chance for City on 6 minutes though, when Sterling was just wide with an effort. On 8 minutes, Lingard managed to force another save by Ederson's boot after a fast break. And I was impressed again with Fred, and of course Rashford as dangerous as ever. On 15 minutes then, another break by Martial, and his drive was fisted away by Ederson. But then on 19 minutes, Rashford danced into the box. Bernardo Silva came back to get a tackle in. He missed the tackle cleanly and ball, but he managed to touch Rashford, and Rashford fell over. And after VAR had a look at it, a penalty was awarded. Rashford, who's missed a few, stepped up, strolled it wide of Ederson, and the Red Devils were up 1-0. But City continued to dominate possession. So Bernardo broke into the box, but it was pushed away for a corner. And on 25 minutes though, Rashford up the other end, bends a shot just wide of Ederson. Great through ball again by Fred, my man of the match. And on 26 minutes, a real piece of opportunism by Rashford. First time effort, and he hit the bar with Ederson stranded. 28 minutes then, Martial interlinked with James on another break, and he got the ball back and he hit a sweet drive with his left foot inside the near post. Ederson couldn't get a touch to it, and remarkably Man U were now 2 up. But City continued to boss things. David Silva had a shot straight at De Gea. On 37 minutes, the first effort for Jesus, but he heads wide after a lovely chip from De Bruyne into the box. On 38 minutes, Wan-Bissaka fouled Sterling just outside the box, but De Bruyne's curved shot went over the bar. And a few minutes later, another free kick 30 yards out. This was central, but Silva's effort was easy for De Gea. As we approached the break, it was still City piling on the pressure. Maguire cleared an effort, and then a walk across managed to hit Fred's arm. Shouts for a penalty by Guardiola and Cole, but VAR said no pen. So we arrived at the half-time whistle with Manchester United 2 goals up. So into the second half, and as expected, it was totally dominated by City. Angelino's strike was way over early on, and then on 48, David Silva got into the box, but his shot was wide. And this habit was becoming very predictable with missed opportunities for City. On 54 minutes, a real scrap in United's box, and De Bruyne's shot got blocked by Lindelof, who was impressive. And then on 56 minutes, a break by Lindegaard, and he was fouled by Walker, who got a yellow. That was a rare escapade up into City's part of the field, however. And 60 minutes, a mistake by Lindelof let in Sterling. He glided across the box, but somehow Wan-Bissaka chased him and got a vital foot to block his effort. We then had a chance for Rodri, but his vicious shot was tipped over by De Gea. Then we had a real problem on a corner for United, with missiles being thrown on the pitch. It got quite ugly, City supporters of course, and I felt it had something to do with the fact that Fred of course is black. But anyway, after a few minutes the game restarted. Mahrez came on for Bernardo. On 66 minutes, a good break by United, and Lindegaard managed to get a shot in which Ederson pushed behind. And then 4 minutes later, once again, Otamendi had come on for the injured Stones, but he from a corner, his effort was just wide. Pereira came on for Martial, 73 minutes, and another block by Wan-Bissaka on Angelino's shot on 75. And then Mahrez had an opportunity on 80. His cross was put across the 6-yard area, but no one got a touch. United's defence was pretty impressive throughout, really, but on 84 minutes City finally got something for their efforts, and it was a very strong header from a corner by Otamendi. So it was 2-1, and it was really pandemonium now. City trying desperately to get the equaliser. Mahrez had a shot saved by De Gea, and City dominated. We had 5 minutes of extra time, but in the end Manchester United held out for an absolutely remarkable win. City's 4th defeat of the season. Surely the title is beyond them now, but for Solskjaer, following that Spurs win, this was just what the doctor ordered. So final score at the Etihad: Manchester City 1, Manchester United 2. So to the new White Hart Lane then. Spurs at home to Burnley. Could Mourinho's Spurs bounce back after the defeat at Old Trafford? Burnley also got a hammering from Man City. So to the action, and it didn't take Spurs very long to set a seal on a commanding performance. 4 minutes. Son managed to feed Kane 25 yards, he hit the ball and it was bulging the net. 1-0 to Spurs. 6-minute Aurier was put through on the right, and he fed Kane, but this time his shot was managed. 8 minutes, a great run from Son, rampaging into the box, and his shot hit the keeper's legs, bounced up, and in the ensuing challenge, Dele managed to flick it on, and Moura was there to finish it off. So 2-0 to Spurs. On 15 minutes, it should have been 3, but Sissoko a bit unlucky. His shot hit the foot of the post. First chance for the visitors: McNeil corner, and Rodriguez hit the bar. But then on 31 minutes, the goal of the day, a tremendous run from Son. He picked up the ball just outside Spurs' own penalty area and kept on running, danced past a few defenders. Then they got to the point where they were afraid to tackle him in case he went over, and he just continued to breeze through. It must have been 4 or 5 players, and eventually pushed the ball wide of Pope, and it was 3-0 to Spurs. And on 37 minutes, Rodriguez, his second opportunity with a header, but this time it went right wide. So it was 3-0 at the break, but Spurs didn't take their foot off the pedal. And on 53 minutes, another piece of enterprise from the sharpshooter Kane, and it was really a great goal as he struck the ball, and the whip shot hit the roof of the net, and that was 4-0. Okay, finally 73 minutes, Sissoko got his second goal for Spurs, the first today of course, linking with Kane beautifully, and he poked it wide of Pope. Burnley, well, this was a poor performance by their standards. Defensively, they looked very frail. For Spurs, everything clicked. Son is becoming their best player, I feel. Kane back to his best. So the final score at White Hart Lane was Spurs 5, Burnley 0. So to Vicarage Road then, Watford at home to Crystal Palace. Team news: Deeney was now restored well up front with Deulofeu. For Palace, Cahill came back. He missed the midweek game. Action, well, there wasn't a lot of it in the first half. A couple of half chances, one for Palace from MacArthur on 8 minutes, went wide, and then Sarr chipped an effort which was also deflected away on 10. Into the second half then, things didn't get much better, to be frank. 52 minutes, Deeney finds Deulofeu, but he hits his shot just wide. And on 79, the best chance of the match, Ayew, he managed to wriggle clear of the defender in the box, but his shot went over. Last 10 minutes, Deulofeu clips the ball across, but Sarr can't get a connection, so it runs away to safety. And then 83 minutes, the best piece of action at the back for Palace, Cahill denying the Watford attacker, tremendous tackle, getting the ball off Sarr, but it ended scoreless. So final score then: Watford 0, Crystal Palace 0. So to the Vitality Stadium then, Bournemouth at home to Liverpool. Bournemouth are decimated by injuries, so I won't go through their changes. For Liverpool, Klopp made 7 changes from the Merseyside derby. Alisson was back in after his suspension, and Alexander-Arnold rested to the bench. Gomez in at right back. Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain started for the Reds. 32 matches unbeaten now, Liverpool. Into the action. It has to be said, this was yet another commanding performance by Klopp's men. Early chance for Salah, but it was well held by Ramsdale, and that was on 4 minutes. And then on 24 minutes, a slowish start for the Reds, I must admit. Milner's effort just wide. And then a rare chance for Burnley. Juma flicked the ball on from a Fraser cross, and it just went wide. And then there was a clash between Ake and Salah, which led to Ake having to leave the field with an injury. Big loss for Burnley. 34 minutes. Liverpool opened the scoring. Oxlade-Chamberlain connects with a volley after a magnificent diagonal pass of 30 yards plus from Henderson, and Ramsdale was very slow off his line, and it was in the back of the net. 1-0 to Liverpool. 41 minutes, Arnold came on as a sub. Firmino had an effort, went wide, but a couple of minutes before the break, Liverpool doubled their lead when Keita finished off after a peach of a back heel from Salah, and it was 2-0. Keita, of course, hasn't played much this season, but he looked assured. So 2-0 at the break for the Reds, and into the second half, and on 53 minutes, Salah clipped in the third, following a Keita pass, so returning the favour as such. And Salah ran into the space in the box and chipped it wide of Ramsdale, and that was Liverpool up 3-0. To be honest, they could have had more. They coasted to the finish line. Final score then at Vitality Stadium: Bournemouth 0, Liverpool 3.